We are about to cook us up some venison roast. Now guys, I got two little small shoulders. For one thing I like to do when I'm deer hunting is I save the shoulders, because that meat on there ain't good enough for nothing else to me but put in a roast. But we finished cook us up a roast. We're gonna be using butter, chicken broth, about a half a can of brown, not a half a can, a half a cup of brown sugar, a little dash of ketchup, which you could use tomato paste. I'm gonna have a little can of mushrooms here, about a half a cup of carrots I got out of the freezer, and about a cup, and that's different types of peppers and onions that was out of the garden last year and we had in the freezer. In my little seasoning pot here, I already got a good teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of white pepper, a teaspoon of thyme. Yeah, thyme. There was something else I was going to put in there that I didn't have, so we just going with the salt, pepper, and thyme. I got about 2 little cloves of garlic minced up and a dash of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar I'm gonna go and put right now in my chicken broth right there. That's probably a tablespoon. Ketchup, just a squirt like so. Like I said, you can use tomato paste if you got it, but I didn't want to open a whole can of tomato paste and we didn't have no more in the tube. And I'm gonna go on and put the brown sugar in here and give that a little stir. Next up, I'm gonna take some of this butter right here. I got my Dutch oven kind of warmed up, probably a little over warm. We're gonna take, I don't know, probably a good tablespoon of butter. Let that melt around down there in the bottom. I'm gonna get me a pan out. After I sear these little shoulders, I'm gonna sear one on both sides, take it out and lay it here on this pan. Sear the other and take it out and lay it on this pan. And then we'll go back in with our other ingredients. Now, as always, I don't go in big concerns about measuring everything out to the T. I kind of go by the sight and to the feel, to the taste. I always said cooking's like a ball game. A recipe's just a map to the ball part. And once I get there, it's up to me to play the game. That's how I look at it anyway. That beef y'all just heard, that was the oven preheating to 350 degrees. And one last ingredient I was going to use here was some red wine. And we don't happen to have no red wine. So I'm probably going to put a little poor boy red wine in it. That would be about a half a can of beer. And some of you that frowns on alcohol, when you use wines and bourbons and beer to cook with, you're cooking the alcohol out of it. You're not going to be getting no alcohol into you by eating something that was cooked by it. It just makes the food taste a lot better. So I'm going to lay this one little shoulder right here and I'm going to sprinkle some of this seasoning, salt and pepper and thyme's all this is. Lay it down in there. I need to keep the fire on up. I need that sizzling now. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the other side so when I flip it back over. You ain't got to worry about my pan here, seasonings on it. just laid the raw meat on here because this meat ain't gonna be fully cooked when I put it back on here. This is just something to lay it on to keep making a mess. While I'm waiting on that to come up to heat, I'm gonna go on and pour my half a can of beer into there. Like I said, if you got red wine, this little recipe actually calls for red wine. But my wife drank it all, I guess. Now we're gonna give it a little flip. Now while that was seared up, I got about 3 medium-sized taters here. Like leaving the skin on, doing them like tater logs. That'll go in there. I forgot to mention. We're gonna lay that one out. Now you could brown this on up darker if you so choose to. I'm just trying to hurry up and get this started, get it in the oven, and it'll be cooking supper while I go outside and do something else. This is the kind of meals I like to do. But some days I like getting a meal like this started. That way I can go on, put it in the oven. Set the oven in case I forget it'll go off, but set my alarm on my phone and I can go on outside and be doing other stuff while supper's cooking. And it kind of makes my day go a little better having a good supper. My wife's got a good supper when she gets home, but yet I ain't just standing in here rushing up at the end of the day. This one here I think I'm going to brown up just a little bit more than I did the first one. This is mostly going to make a good juice for all this to cook in. And after it cooks down, I'll take the meat and the potatoes and stuff, put it back out into another pot, cover it up, keep it warm, drain some of the juice off, put a little cornstarch in there to thicken it up, make it more like a little thinner gravy. Put everything back up in there and set it back in the oven, and it'll be on warm, so when she gets home it'll be ready to eat. And I put that ketchup in there a while ago. A lot of people recipes are called for tomato sauce or tomato paste or something. But ketchup's good to use because ketchup's got a whole lot of herbs and seasonings in it also. When you're cooking meat like that, it just flavors the meat. You ain't gonna taste nothing taste like no ketchup. The vinegar helps break the meat down and make it more tender. And you ain't got enough vinegar in there to taste the vinegar taste. And we love mushrooms, so we keep cans of mushrooms to cook with. Alright, now we're going to take that out and we're going to go in with the onions and peppers. The chopped up garlic. Stir that around, brown it up for about a minute. Turn my heat back up, that cooled it off because it was out of the freezer. I like using fresh peppers and onions cut up. But when it's this time of year, that's why you put these in the freezer, so you got something to cook with. You still get your flavors out of them. Now I ain't gonna have to add no more butter, I thought, so I'm gonna put my butter up. I had enough butter in there that it was enough to saute my onions and peppers. Without adding any more. I'm going to make a plan change right here in the middle of this recipe. Since I've had as much butter in here as I had, I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour. And all that'll do is help make the gravy a little thicker, and I may not have to do the cornstarch trick at the end. That's a tongue twister there, I can't get it out. Yeah, that soaked it up. Now we're gonna go in with the broth and red wine and ketchup. Go in with the carrots. Jack my heat all the way back up. And I'm gonna go in with the mushrooms. I like using the juice and all because it got the good flavor and all in the juice. Now that ain't the healthiest thing to do with canned food. And I'm gonna go on in with the rest of my white pepper and salt and thyme. And when you use white pepper got a lot of heat to it. We're gonna let that come back up to a simmer or a boil. Not really a boil. As soon as I see it starting to come up, I turn my fire back down, put the meat in there. I got my potatoes sitting in water. Sometimes I put them in now, but today, since I ain't got much to do outside, it's kind of cloudy and dreary. I think I'm gonna put the meat in here, put the lid on it, and put it in the oven, let this cook for about 1.5 hours in the oven. Take it back out and then put my potatoes in there so they won't get overly done or over mushy. Now this is coming back up to a boil, so we're gonna throw the meat back in there. We're gonna put the lid on it and set her in the oven. Like I said, about 1.5 hours. We'll take it out, put our potatoes in there and let them cook. While that's happening right now, I'm gonna get all my dishes cleaned up. Guys, it's been about, let me look at the clock, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Oh yeah. I think that gravy's gonna be good without thickening it up. We're gonna go in with the potatoes. If I can get them all crammed down in here. And I'm gonna go in with about 1/2 jar of our canned green beans. Then we'll save the other half to cook with another meal. Now I'm gonna give this juice just a taste and see if I need any more salt. I don't think it needs no more salt. I think it's just right. Now we're gonna go back in there for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. I'm gonna set these other green beans in the ice box. We'll take these out and use them in another dish. Well, it has been 3 hours. So we finna get this out. Sharon ought to be home pretty quickly. Woo boy, look at there, guys. Good as that smells, something in there has to taste good. Oh yeah, them taters got just right. Fork right through them, but yet they ain't falling apart. Look at that meat. Just pull it off. See how tender that meat is? I can't wait on her to get home. I got to taste this right now. That's why you save them shoulders off of them deer hoe. You can pull off that good meat with your fork. Leave some of that old stuff in there with that silver skin and gristle. You don't want to eat it. She don't like this. I just have to tell her she's gonna have to stop by somebody else's house and eat. What?
I said it smells good when I opened the door.
Yeah? You hungry?
I am hungry. I didn't get lunch today.
Well, you ought to take lunch.
Well, I was going to, and then somebody walked in, needed a haircut. So, that's good. What'd you put on that roast?
Oh, well, I was going to use some of your wine.
Look at that.
And you done drank your bottle of wine you had in the icebox.
There was some up there in the cabinet.
Oh, well, guys, I could have used wine.
I got it hid. You don't know where my wine is.
I used poor boy wine. I used a little beer in it.
It's good and tender.
Huh? Well, you know how I am. I try something new every time, so.
It's good.
I can't never cook the same thing twice because I'm always adding something new. It is good though.
Mm-hmm. Those green beans are good too.
One of them tender shoulders. Young shoulders. Guys, that's what putting that little vinegar in there does too. But this was a young deer, so. Paper towel.
I like coming home to a good supper.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm doing pretty good here lately. She's been liking everything I've been cooking.
That's right.
It's still raining.
It's not even misting now.
Guys, our toast is hot dog buns, because I don't like wasting bread. We have so much bread that burns. So when we have hot dog buns or hamburger buns, I make toast out of them.
It's good.
Ain't never done no toast like that using little herbs on it instead of other than just garlic bread.
Right. What all did you put on there?
On here, butter and oregano and just a sprinkle of that dehydrated celery we got.
Oh,
Just a small amount.
I knew it was something else. I could taste the oregano.
I wanted something a little different instead of regular toast.
Good.
I'm full. You bring home dessert?
I did not.
No dessert, guys.
I had you some little cherry pies, but you done ate
I didn't
all
eat
of them.
all them. Them things are good.